The people who could be Colorado's most prolific killers might have gotten away with murder because of a lack of funding for state and local investigators and conflicting versions of what happened. In February 1986, Michael McCormick led detectives to the graves of three men, Robert Lee Sorsh, James Perry Sinclair, and James Irvin Plintz, and he claimed there were more bodies buried on his father's 2,800-acre ranch near Stratton in Kit Carson County. The search was halted, then CBI Director Neil Maloney and local authorities said at the time, because of a lack of money. Officials said no charges were ever filed against the man Michael McCormick accused, his own father, because of his lack of credibility. Mike McCormick accused his father of the August 30, 1983, murder of Idaho trucker Herbert Burt Donahoe, 60. He claimed Tom McCormick struck Donahoe with a sledgehammer and he helped his father put the body in a sleeping bag and bury it in a wheat field near Byers, according to an arrest warrant affidavit. But officials came to believe Michael McCormick committed the murder alone. The boat ice came to light in 1986 after the younger McCormick was arrested for stealing Donahoe's semi-tractor trailer. At the time Donahoe was missing and believed dead. Mike McCormick agreed to a plea bargain that gave him 2 years in prison on numerous drug, theft and fraud charges if he led authorities to Donahoe's body and those of other men he claimed his father killed on his ranch on the Eastern Plains. Mike McCormick claimed his father recruited homeless men at a church mission called the Christian Men's Center on 2228 Larimer Street in Denver, said Linda Holloway, a former Fort Collins homicide detective and current investigator for the 13th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Tom McCormick would not let the men leave his ranch and withheld their pay. When many of his workers filed complaints with state employment officials, Tom McCormick began killing his ranch hands when it came time to pay them, Holloway said. He would shoot, strangle or beat them to death and then bury them on the ranch, Mike McCormick reported to authorities. Tom McCormick had intentionally picked men that family members and society had forgotten so that no one noticed they were missing, Holloway said. That just saved their overhead by killing them, she said. Tom McCormick also allegedly ran a car theft ring with the help of the homeless men from Denver, according to authorities. True to his plea commitment, Mike Holloway led authorities to Donahoe's shallow grave and 3 graves of men on the ranch. 2 of the bodies were found in the backyard of Mike McCormick's trailer at the ranch, and a third was found along a fence line south of Tom McCormick's home. Mike said one of the victims was a ranch foreman and another was a burglar. Mike McCormick said he caught the burglar in his trailer, summoned his father on a CB radio, and his father killed the burglar by choking him. He claimed that the ranch foreman was shot to death by his father during a dispute over liquor. The younger McCormick said that he knew where the men were buried because his father threatened to kill him if he didn't help him bury them. When investigators uncovered one of the graves, they discovered 2 shovels, corroborating Mike McCormick's story, Holloway said. Mike McCormick told authorities that his father killed Donahoe in an Aurora home in 1983. The elder McCormick was arrested and allegedly told a cellmate that it was Mike McCormick who killed Donahoe and stole his brown 1977 Kenworth diesel rig from a Wheat Ridge truck stop. Jefferson County authorities began to notice discrepancies in Mike McCormick's story. Ultimately, charges against Tom McCormick were dismissed and the younger Mike McCormick was charged and convicted of first-degree murder in Donahoe's death. That is why, several officials said at the time, that his accusation against his father in the murders of men on his ranch would not be enough evidence to convict Tom McCormick. Mike McCormick's appeals attorney Patrick Mulligan said his client passed a lie detector test indicating he was truthful about the murders. Mulligan said he did not believe discrepancies in different accounts Mike McCormick gave of the murders were substantial. In 2005, Mulligan won an appeal for Mike McCormick, getting his murder conviction in Donahoe's death overturned after he proved his client's trial attorney was ineffective. Jefferson County authorities refiled murder charges against him but later entered a deal with Mike McCormick in which he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder if he would not have to serve any additional time behind bars. Upon his release, Jefferson County authorities called 13th Judicial District Attorney Bob Watson and told him about Mike McCormick's release. Watson reopened the murder investigation, asking his part-time investigator Holloway to see if it was possible to find the bodies of as many as 14 ranch workers believed to be killed. In a lot of ways these were considered disposable human beings, Watson said of the 17 men believed shot, bludgeoned, strangled and buried on the ranch. Holloway said when 2 suspects of a crime point fingers at each other, it complicates an investigation, but the graves of the other men could offer clues about who committed the murders. For example, if the bodies of the victims show that more than one weapon was used to kill them, it may indicate more than one killer, she said. It would be unusual for a killer to use more than one type of weapon, she said. When different weapons are used, it often indicates two killers were involved, she said. Authorities had already found such evidence in 1987. An autopsy of Sorsh's skeleton indicated that he had been shot in the head with a shotgun and that his body also had 5 pistol wounds. Heavy fence wire was wrapped around his lower right leg. Holloway collected 15 boxes of evidence in the case from Jefferson County and Kit Carson County storage facilities and had about 6 boxes of the most critical evidence organized digitally, she said. She also tracked down the bodies of the 3 men killed on the ranch, whose remains had been kept in a laboratory at Colorado State University until 2002 and then transferred to Kit Carson County and stored in evidence boxes. Holloway said she sent Sorsh's skeleton, which was missing a skull, to the Netherlands for DNA testing to confirm his identity. She used victim assistance funds to have the skeletons of all 3 men cremated and their ashes sent to relatives. When she contacted Plintz's family, she learned that they had never been told that his body was found. They didn't even know he had died, she said. His sister had died a few months before I called them and she never learned what had happened to him. Although members of Sinclair's family had made a request to get his remains back after the investigation was completed, his body had remained in the evidence box, she said. Sinclair's sister Pamela Nail died 4 years ago, her husband Lonnie Nail said. Years ago, she had tried to get the remains from investigators. She tried to and they said they had to keep them for a study, Lonnie Nail said. It was important to her to put her dad to rest. Pamela died believing that Mike McCormick, who was convicted of killing Donahoe, also killed her father, he said. She always wondered why they never charged him with murder, he said. She was upset.